Hi guys, I hope you guys are doing well, having a happy holiday, spending time with the family. Today I want to talk about humanity. I think that term humanity is really self-explanatory. If you're human, you should have some type of humanity. A lot of people don't have humanity, but I want to talk about bringing it back and why that's so important. It's so important, especially in today's day and age, because everyone's becoming so desensitized to certain things. And I mean, a lot of things have been put in front of our faces at such a early age, or just even with the accessibility of social media, seeing things are so accessible. So like seeing murders online, that's not normal. Like if you can pull up something on Twitter and like your first instinct is, oh, I want to go see what it looks like on Twitter, that's not normal. And so things like that are just too accessible. I think what's also become desensitized is the lack of compassion and empathy for people in your everyday life. So I've talked about this before about how everyone's inner compass is different. And, I think we're so quick to judge nowadays because of social media, because we feel like we see every aspect of people's life, or because we see someone on Instagram and we think we know everything about them, but you don't know someone, you don't know who they are. But at the end of the day, what you do know is that they're a human just like you. They go through emotions, they go through phases, they go through feelings just like you do. So when you realize that we are all human and that, giving each other grace, giving each other empathy, because empathy is important. God is love. And once you realize that God is everywhere, then it's easy to love and look at someone and just love them, because we're all living this life and having a human experience, and we've never been alive before as we can remember, from what we can remember is what I'm trying to say. So when you look at people from that point of view, like, we're all just babies at life. We're all just surviving through life and just living until one day we transition on to the next one. That helps bring back a level of humanity, because we've lost compassion. Even like simple things, like I know we all go through our days where maybe we don't want to talk, but like going through simple things like smiling at someone that you see in the store, or if they have a name tag, or just if you know someone, just saying hi, addressing someone by their name, asking someone how their day is. I mean, it's the little things that allow people to feel like, okay, somebody cares, because we've gotten to the point where everybody is wanting, but they're not really fully being present in what's in front of them. And that includes, interacting and being of love and being of service to other people. And I think too, what has happened is because we see, a lack of compassion for other people in other countries where there's wars going on, where there's famine going on, that can sometimes bleed into the culture of this lack of compassion. But we have to bring back humanity. If you want to be the change, you have to be the change you want to see. I meant to say, if you want to see the change, you got to be the change you want to see. You get what I'm saying? A lot of the times we're waiting for people that we deem having higher authority or a higher power to show empathy, be a humanitarian. But I think once people realize that a lot of the people who are in positions of power, they're not humanitarians. They don't really care for humanity. They see how they can benefit from humanity, which is why you have 9-to-5s, which is why you have people who can't afford healthcare, can't afford the cost of living, can't afford food and things like that. If the people that you deem your authoritarian figures, I don't know if authoritarian is the correct word, but we know someone who's trying to be an authoritarian right now. I'm not going to say no names, but they are the president of the United States of America. Anyways, so when you see that these things are going on, you have homelessness, you have homeless veterans, you have wars, you have children dying. That's not being a humanitarian. They don't care about humanity, but you can care about humanity. Bring back humanity. People are becoming really desensitized, and it is important for the betterment, and especially for this younger generation, because I mean, we have kids that don't even respect their elders. They don't. I saw a video today of some kids trying to rob a woman, and they were harassing her, beating her, whatever the case it may be. But even like when it comes to your relationship with your parents. Now, I understand everyone's relationship is different, but I've even gone through that phase where, my relationship with my mom was a little rocky. Like, I felt like, when you're young, you feel like you know everything. But obviously you have to see that, like, you're here for the first time, your parents are also here for the first time. And that's just a level of humanity that you have to have. You have to see everyone as a human being, whether you know them or not, because you're a human being. So the way you want to be treated, you have to treat other people. And I know you're going to come across people that do you dirty, do you wrong, or you wonder and you think, like, why do you think this way? Why do you treat people like that? Why do you judge? Why are you mean? But you have to leave that up to God and a certain thing called karma, okay? When someone does that, just know that when you have that level of respect for yourself, you have that level of self-love and faith, you know when to walk away and say, okay, at the first sign of disrespect, I'm walking away. And you leave the rest up to God. So don't let it get too far past that point. But what I'm getting at is, no matter how people treat you, always be from a perspective of love, from a perspective of compassion, from a perspective of humanity, because God is love. And if you're a child of God, you have to operate in love, no matter what. No matter how people treat you, okay? Because one thing I've said is, what you will leave here with is your soul. A lot of people don't leave this earth with their soul because they care too much about the material. They care too much about, what can I gain from people? What can I take from people? And so now you have people who want their heaven to be on earth. Well, your heaven can be on earth, nigga. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Your heaven could be on earth. But all I know is I want to leave here with my soul. So, bring humanity back. We're becoming too desensitized. Okay? No matter how people treat or what they say, that does not mean that anybody has the right to die or be hurt or, whatever comes to them, you let it happen karmically. But to speak on, humans like, oh, they deserve that, they did this, they did that. I mean, once you learn to operate from the perspective of love, you just kind of are like, well, you're going to pray for them. That's really what you could do. Pray and hope for the best. Pray for their healing. That's another important thing, is it's called, when you learn how, what is it called? Intercession? Yeah. The prayer of intercession. That's something that I've learned too, is anytime that I do see someone, whether it's like a homeless person or someone in the industry or someone who's going through a hard time, instead of just looking and judging or talking or gossiping about what's going on, using the prayer of intercession, I pray for their healing. I pray that God helps them, because that's humanity, okay? Not saying someone deserves something or they did something and maybe they deserve it. You let karma do its thing. God will assess what's going on because he sees everything, right? So I hope you guys have happy holidays. Talk to you tomorrow.